The weather forecast with Akendogas.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for making our time to be part of the weather forecast tonight. I hope you are having a beautiful time out there. Between tonight and tomorrow morning, we expect heavy precipitation in some parts of the nation, like the Adamawa and the south regions. Now, we are looking at as low as 18 degrees in the northwest and west regions, the littoral as low as 19 degrees, and the east expecting minimum temperature at 21 degrees, with the rest of the nation expecting between 23 to 26 degrees as minimum temperature. Now we go over to the Adamawa region, where tonight Banyo and Tibati are expecting heavy rainfall, and by morning it is expected that showers will rain all over the Adamawa region. Now on to the south. This evening we expect heavy rainfall in the town of Kribi, and by morning it will be exactly the same experience in the south region. And lastly, we go to the far north, where tonight there would be no possibility of precipitation in the entire region, and same experience by morning, with Mokolo expecting the lowest temperature at 26 degrees. Now, to protect yourself and others against the coronavirus, you should avoid touching your face and you should cough with a flexed elbow. Call the number 1510 in case of emergencies. Thank you for watching and good night.
The Cameroon government recommits itself to barring the way for coronavirus, announcing tough assumptions for defaulters, especially those in the transport sector. As the number of confirmed cases of the COVID-19 shoot up in the country, fake news and falsehood on the veracity of the killer pandemic goes viral on social media, undermining national and international efforts to contain the disease. An unprecedented flood sends the southwest regional capital, BUEA, underwater after a heavy downpour that sparked fears of an imminent eruption, but fears that were quickly dispelled by seismic experts. Those are our top stories. Hello, welcome to the 7:30 News. I am Benn PUFONG. The Cameroon government has gone on the offensive on the fight against the coronavirus, announcing that those found guilty of not respecting the preventive measures outlined by the head of state will be punished in accordance with the laws of the land. Prime Minister Joseph John Gute, who took the commitment yesterday at the end of an interministerial meeting for the evaluation of the measures that went into effect 1 week after in the nation's capital and across the national territory. Sisako Tamko now puts that government measure in perspective.
With the number of COVID-19 infection cases plummeting to 66 within just 2 weeks, and with 1/3 recorded, government is taking a bold approach to contain the rapid spread of this new respiratory pathogen. Sectoral reports from the second evaluation crisis meeting reveals a non-respect of measures including the systematic closure of bars, restaurants and leisure sports from 6 p.m., prohibition of gatherings of more than 50 people, the ban of overloading in buses, taxis, motorbikes, and urban and inter-urban travel restrictions. Other measures such as the regulation of consumer flows in markets and shopping centers, in addition to compliance with the rules of hygiene and social distancing as laid down by the World Health Organization, are floated by many. Prime Minister John Gute, in a special statement issued after the crisis meeting, is promising to apply with utmost rigor restrictive measures, including punishing offenders, as instructed by the head of state, who is concerned with the welfare of the population. In applying these repressive measures, the head of government will be referring to Article 250 of the Penal Code, which punishes with imprisonment from 3 months to 3 years anyone who by his conduct facilitates the transmission of a contagious and dangerous disease. To ensure the respect of the head of state's measures, administrative and municipal authorities as well as forces of law and order will strengthen controls. Worth mentioning here that unlike other countries where there's complete shutdown, government is looking at this alternative to mitigate far-reaching consequences of such measures. Government believes that it is still possible to contain the coronavirus if the measures already taken by government and the rules of conduct laid down by WHO are scrupulously respected. Government is therefore counting on the civic responsibility of all to bar the spread of the deadly COVID-19.
And a recent press release from the Ministry of Transport has outlined a number of measures aimed at curbing the spread of the coronavirus. Commercial bike riders, for instance, are expected to transport only one passenger at a time, while taxi drivers must not have more than 3 passengers on board. But just how effective are these measures being followed by the concerned is what Yoti Kaleli Sange went finding out in the streets of Yaoundé.
Ignorance is definitely not an excuse for these bike riders, some of whom still defy government's instruction for them to limit the number of occupants to 2.
They said that we should not carry 2 passengers on a bike, but some people are claiming about 3.
I have tried in my own best that we should be carrying but the one person. If you tell somebody that the distance of 100 francs, you can add 50 on this because we are working now only with one person. The person will not accept. So that is just what is a bit disturbing us.
To others, the size of a passenger also influences their actions.
I've been doing my possible best to carry just one person, but sometimes if I have to carry 2 persons, maybe there are small persons.
Apparently, bike riders are not the only ones finding it hard to adhere to government's instructions. Taxi drivers are on their part expected to reduce occupants of their vehicles to 4 instead of the required 5, implying 2 in front and 2 behind.
Right now like this, we cannot recover our balance. Nothing cannot move. Just look, this is 100, about how many kilometers? So we cannot survive.
They argue that it doesn't suffice for government to give instructions only, as they can take measures like reducing the price for fuel.
They have not taken measures to help us first, to reduce the carburant first, before they ask us to carry maybe 3 persons in our cars, because it's too difficult to us.
In spite of the resistance from some taxi drivers and bike riders, they are unanimous that being free from the coronavirus requires a determined effort.
And still in the transport sector, those of the mass urban domains will henceforth have to limit the number of passengers they carry as well. 70-seater buses, for instance, will carry not more than 50, including the driver, and those with a 30-seater capacity will board not more than 20. Public transport companies will equally have to enforce social distancing measures and the systematic temperature checks for travelers. Cynthia Sabtala tells us just how successful implementing these measures have been thus far.
The Ministry of Transport outlined a couple of restrictive measures to contain the spread of the coronavirus. Based on the communique, mass transportation in urban areas like these buses that carry passengers from the heart of town to far-off neighborhoods like Mendong and Simbok must limit the number of passengers.
We have vehicles of different capacities. Those with 11 seats now carry just 8, and of 19 places now carry 12 passengers only.
However, on arrival, our cameras caught this image of an 11-seater bus with more than 8 passengers taking off. At other transportation agencies, the numbers were respected.
In vehicles of 19 places, we put 12 passengers, that is 3 per bench. Vehicles of 35 places now take 20.
Only trouble was, passengers had to bear the extra cost for a comfortable seat.
They have effectively limited overloading, but who pays the price? Us. Normally, to get to Soa, it was 250 francs. Now it is 300 francs.
Another government measure, that of taking the temperatures of passengers before they sit, seemed difficult to apply.
We have no means of taking the temperatures of passengers. In a day, we can have about 200 passengers. How then do you take all their temperatures?
On the upside, most agencies now provide water and soap to passengers who can wash hands before getting into any bus.
Transport Minister Jean-Ernest Massenangalebi-Behe has warned transporters and commuters that they risk 15 days closure of their activities should they fail to respect the outlined preventive measures against COVID-19 in their sector. This was during an interview with CRTV in which the minister said all measures have been taken to ensure that the government prescriptions are respected to the letter. Joyce Kimbi-Fowajo reports on the restrictive measures in the transport sector.
It is a cocktail of 19 measures to mortgage the urban, peri-urban, air and rail transport from the global COVID-19 pandemic. Authorities in charge are confident with its applicability.
All the external and internal services of the Ministry of Transport will all be strictly engaged with the follow-up of the implementation and the respect of these measures by all.
The Ministry of Transport and its partners have synergized to follow up.
Ministry of Transport all over the national territory together with other partners, administrations, such as the police, the gendarmerie and the army will carry out field trips to ensure that all the operators in the transport sector respect the prescribed measures within all the 4 subsectors of the transport sector.
Any attempt to speculate or breach these measures will not be spared.
Any defaulter of these measures will be penalized with 15 days or more. Closure of their activities, be it urban, peri-urban and inter-urban transport. There is no room for speculation. It is a question of saving life.
To denounce any speculator, the Ministry of Transport has its toll-free number 8204. Call in need.
Facts versus fiction about the coronavirus is a situation the government is dealing with while ensuring that measures to stem the spread of the virus are effectively implemented. State officials have decried the fact that a number of Cameroonians have taken to the social media platforms to spread fake news about the COVID-19 disease in the country. In the report that follows, Constantine Baum explores the sanctions that await those found guilty of spreading rumors while highlighting government's action to contain the disease.
If the 13 measures taken by the government to curb the spread of COVID-19 are respected by Cameroonians, then it would be easy to contain the virus in the country. Those tested positive are being taken care of by the government at the different confinement facilities.
For each patient, we have 4 doctors who work 24 hours on 24, and they are assisted by tens of nurses. The drugs are given free of charge. All the tests are done free of charge. They are fed by the hospital. Caring for them per day costs about 300,000 francs. For 14 days, they are admitted. The total medical cost is about 4,200,000 francs.
Instead of appreciating their sacrifices, some Cameroonians have engaged themselves in spreading fake news that most of the health personnel have been infected, while some are even dead. For now, according to the authorities, no health personnel has tested positive and no health personnel has died of the virus. Publication of false news is punishable in Cameroon by law and the penal code.
It is very possible to trace people who send fraudulent information or fake information across the web to deceive people. Eventually, because to use internet today, you must use it via a SIM card. You must have a SIM card. And today the government has put measures to make sure that all SIM cards that go out to the market today are registered by an ID card.
Before 6 p.m. today, Cameroon had confirmed 70 positive cases of COVID-19. As of now, the cities of Yaoundé, Douala, Bafoussam are currently the 3 hotbeds of the pandemic. For now, Cameroon has recorded only 1 death from coronavirus.
And with civil servants rushing to get their salaries at the banks, a communique from the Minister of Finance has instructed managers of financial institutions to ensure that safety measures to check the propagation of the coronavirus are duly implemented. They include the scrupulous use of hand sanitizers and spacing customers out 1 meter apart. Lumuslim Davies visited some banks in the nation's capital and reports that the implementation is effective.
As the nation unites in the fight to limit the spread of the COVID-19 and coronavirus, as instructed by the Cameroon government in line with prescriptions of the WHO, banks and other public financial institutions are not left out.
Everybody has face masks and gloves to make sure that nobody is contaminated. We are following the government measures about the 1 meter distance between two customers, the salary payout. So there are a lot of people out there. So we are asking them to be patient, so that everybody that comes in goes out without any trouble.
With a drastic reduction of customers at a time, amongst others, in these establishments, the preventive methods against the pandemic is well on course.
Inside, we are making sure that there's this 1 meter distance. Even I won't be in my office like the whole day. I have to get out and make sure that there is this 1 meter distance. We have police security and we have an extra security.
We started this morning by putting order outside there. We have the sanitizer gel, also all the masks.
A critical analysis of the efforts banks and other public financial institutions are putting in to halt the spread of coronavirus give reasons to hope for better days.
Public Service Minister has reassured the over 260,000 public service users in Cameroon that though the direct contact with the personnel of his ministry has been temporarily suspended, the ministry still remains accessible through phone calls and online platforms. Joseph Lay was speaking in Yaoundé today as he briefed the press on measures taken at his ministry to halt the spread of the COVID-19 while ensuring that service delivery remains uninterrupted. Emanuela Vermeuil reports.
Workers of the call center in the Ministry of Public Service and Administrative Reform responding to problems of users who call in through the toll-free number 8566. The State Personnel Management IT Systems, CGPS, has never been this solicited.
All Vinfopra's best skills have been explored so that our users should not feel abandoned during this difficult period. To ensure efficiency, equipment have been procured for information to be provided instantaneously.
With the prohibition of direct contact with the staff here, users of public service are encouraged to use the online platforms of the ministry for any inquiries.
www.minfopra.gov.cl Joseph.le@minfopra.gov.cl.
Minister Joseph Lay insists that inasmuch as his ministry has taken measures to stop the spread of COVID-19, public service delivery remains unperturbed. Meantime, sanitary measures have been reinforced to keep the personnel safe as they carry out their daily activities.
And Cameroon's Trade Minister Luc Magloire Mbarga-Tangana has maintained that business persons found guilty of speculation will be sanctioned accordingly. He was speaking today after a tour of some warehouses in Yaoundé to ascertain the availability of basic commodities, an exercise which led to the closure of some businesses suspected of hoarding. Here is an excerpt of the trade buzz after today's outing.
Some people think that, they can continue to practice illicit and illegal practices. They think that also they can open underground warehouse. You have seen one. People think that they can do it in a country who has rule, who has laws. It's not acceptable. And I said that we will fight against all those people, you know, to clear up our economic space. And we will do it. So everyone is warned, clearly warned. If I am here in the Central Market today, it's because I had information from a consumer. So it's important that when they see any illegal, illicit practice, it's important to inform.
One of the 4 suspected COVID-19 cases in the South region has been tested negative. While waiting for the other results, administrative authorities in the region are multiplying efforts to woo the population to adopt and implement the preventive measures outlined by the government. Our South regional correspondent Clarence Azeh is standing by at the Belova Regional Hospital with updates. Hello, Clarence.
Hello, Yawande. Welcome to Bolova in the South region. We are at the Bolova Regional Hospital, popularly known here as L'Hôpital Ekombite, one of the 3 health facilities which authorities, health officials, of course, say is ready to handle any possible cases of the COVID-19. We have this hospital behind me. We have the San Milima Referral Hospital and equally the Kribi District Hospital. You know, the town of Kribi receives a lot of tourists, and so officials in that part of the region are equally on the alert to preempt any cases of the coronavirus. So far, the region is on the alert. Administrative authorities led by South Governor held a security meeting Tuesday to make an evaluation of the 13 measures prescribed by the government of the Republic to see how far the measures are being implemented. And so far, the region has been given a positive mark, though 4 suspected cases of COVID-19 have been announced in the region. Fortunately enough, the first case was tested negative. The 3 others are still at the Central Pasteur as officials await the outcome of the result. The region shares borders with Congo, Gabon and Equatorial Guinea, and all the borders have been shut down. Security has been tightened along the borders to ensure that no chance is given to COVID-19 to enter the South region. I'm Clarence Azeh in Bolova.
Thank you, Clarence. The iron manufacturing company Prometal has donated the sum of 100 million CFA francs to the government of Cameroon as support in the ongoing fight against the spread of the COVID-19 disease. This was announced during a meeting between a delegation from Prometal and the Minister of Public Health, Manauda Malachi. Ghislaine Koa reports from CRTV Center.
The donation from the Prometal International Company as support in the fight against the coronavirus falls in line with their social responsibility role. With the 100 million CFA francs package handed over to Health Minister Manauda Malachi, Prometal hopes that the situation will soon be brought under control.
La société Prometal fait partie d'une holding.
The Prometal industry is amongst the companies that have as mission to tackle issues related to the social and environmental. That is why our President, Director General is so concerned.
La sensibilité de notre président directeur général.
This incentive comes to add to the many other social actions undertaken by Prometal to improve on the well-being of the population.
Nous savons que pour assurer notre pérennité,
to ensure our existence, we know we have to consider the health and living conditions of our surrounding population. So every time that the people or government will face challenges like today, Prometal will always be there.
tel que celui que nous avons aujourd'hui, Prometal sera toujours là.
Amongst the many achievements of the manufacturing industry is the current construction of a multi-complex center at Lycée d'Oyac in Douala, worth 100 million CFA francs to be completed by June 2021.
More than 19,000 people have died from the coronavirus globally, while over 440,000 persons are infected, as researchers and scientists are caught in a race against time to find a vaccine to fight the deadly virus, as reports reveal that over 11,200 people have recovered from the COVID-19 disease this year. Romeo Nkenyu reports on the global situation of the coronavirus.
The world keeps struggling with COVID-19. Going by facts we gathered while writing this report, the number of people killed by the pandemic across the globe stands at 19,752. As infected figures rise to over 440,336, the number of persons recovered is estimated at 112,028. Ever since the deadly disease extended to the African continent, infected and death statistics continue accelerating day in, day out. According to these facts gathered some minutes ago, Egypt has recorded 21 deaths. Algeria counts 264 citizens tested positive with 19 deaths, while Morocco, Burkina Faso, Tunisia and South Africa now have each more than 100 infected persons. Elsewhere across the planet, Italy tops the ranking with 6,820 deaths, and her contamination figures is 69,176. China tallies 81,218 tainted people, with their statistics summing to 3,281. Spain, Iran, France and USA are some of the countries hit hard by the coronavirus. The above figures are likely to change as more cases are being reported.
A day after the lone death from the coronavirus in Cameroon was recorded, and after government stock-taking on the 13 measures put in place to halt the spread of the disease, there has been some apparent calm in the sense that just very few tweets announcing more cases have come from the Minister of Public Health. Much, however, seems to be happening on the social media, where fake news about the disease spreads with the speed of lightning. And what better place to verify information about the disease in the country than the Public Health Emergency Operations Center, where our 7:30 news crew has pitched its tent. Beatrice Losamba joins us from there with an expert to bring answers to some of the questions that are being raised now. Hello, Beatrice.
Hi, Ben. The rapid response team of the incident management unit of the Ministry of Public Health is on high alert now, works 24 hours on 24, 7 days on 7, and practically manages the coronavirus pandemic. Well, it receives calls, attends to suspicious cases which need to be tested, and also, just gives updates about the disease, quarantining when it's necessary. And we're here for updates. We now turn to the expert, Dr. Metogo Benn, who is the intern, takes care of hospital care, that is. Doctor, thank you for your time. Well, it's been relatively calm right now. It's been very, very, very calm today. We've had no news about new cases, unlike yesterday when we woke up to 10 new cases, and we also had one death recorded yesterday, but it's been very calm today. But we've also heard that the call center 1510 has received the highest number of calls today, more than 1,000 calls. What accounts for this increased number in calls? Are Cameroonians getting more concerned about their health?
Yeah, certainly more concerned, but also I think that the technology around the toll-free number has improved, and now we can get more and more calls to answer the question that Cameroonians ask themselves.
Yes, and we've not heard any news today about new cases, but we've been hearing a lot of jiggering. There's been a lot of jiggering. People have been announcing cases on Facebook and all of that, and you've received some samples, some test samples. Are there any clues to us having new cases anytime soon, before the end of today or by tomorrow?
Today, yes, effectively, we had a few new cases, but not as much as the other days. So we may think that maybe cases are reducing, but we should keep vigilant because any time the number can rise.
Yes, we're also breaking our fingers and counting, because we know the early cases have gone up to about 14 days. When we break our fingers, we count it. As some sellers that in a couple of days they'll probably have recovered from coronavirus if they're doing well, and so we'll be getting some good news in the coming days.
Yes, hopefully in 1 or 2 days now, around 5 cases will reach the 14 days, and we hope that the test that will be done will be negative, so we can now send them back to their homes with the surveillance that is adequate.
Yes, we've been hearing about medical costs really high. We heard that for one person per case, the government spends about 300,000 francs per day. The cost is already on the government's shoulder, very, very high. And we also imagine that the human resources invested are really very, very big, and we're surprised that they're not cracking up under that workload. Are the medical staff, are they safe?
They're doing their best. I think they're working hard. We are all working hard to try to face the problems. There is a huge amount of work, but also we have to keep it up psychologically, not to break down.
Yeah, so no one is ill yet, no medical staff has gotten infected?
Some medical staff have been infected, but those staff were that received patients that were not known to have COVID-19. So that's why we keep saying that people should not just rush to the hospitals when they think they are ill. They should call, so that now when the staff can come, they can take all precautions needed not to get infected.
Okay, so thank you very much. We're very happy that you could answer to our questions. I think we've got to readapt our thinking, Ben. I guess people have to be more serious about what they do in order to avoid being infected, because we're expecting new cases in the coming days. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Beatrice Losamba, and you've been reporting out there from the Emergency Operations Center here in Yaoundé, where we are getting the latest figures on the coronavirus in Cameroon. We continue on this newscast, which is coming to you from the Cameroon Radio Television, broadcasting live from Yaoundé. Geologists and seismographers have debunked social media reports that yesterday's heavy downpour and resultant downslope floods in BUEA were presaging an imminent eruption of the Fako mountain. Speaking to CRTV reporters after the ravaging floods, the experts reassured the population that the monitoring installations are indicating a rather safe and stable mountain with no pointer to any seismic activity around the Fako mountain. Henry McCauley now puts yesterday's floods in BUEA in context.
Tuesday, March the 24th, BUEA witnessed a heavy downpour. Parts of the town were overwhelmed by running water, leading to the flooding of some buildings and road junctions. The running water, which mostly came down from the mountain with a lot of intensity, was dark in color, muddy and carrying particles. The characteristics of the running water actually created panic amongst the inhabitants of BUEA. But for a senior researcher and geologist, Dr. Mafani Teke, there is no reason for people to panic.
What happened yesterday is a natural phenomenon. The rain that fell at the higher reaches of the mountain was more intense than what fell in town. And when this rain falls, what it does is that it collects into ravines that exist on the mountain. These ravines now channel the water downslope. That's the water that we saw in the municipality.
Many attributed the intense running water from the mountain to meaning that Mount Cameroon may erupt in the days ahead.
No, it doesn't have any relationship with the seismicity or the volcanism of the mountain. No, it was just a surface phenomenon, and there is no relation. And just to add, we have checked our installations and even liaised with some friends who are in some monitoring stations abroad. There is no indication of any seismic event around Mount Cameroon.
So if many had paid attention to the stories on the social media, those who know BUEA and who have lived in BUEA for a long time saw no need to panic or to take the story on the social media seriously.
In the meantime, Southwest Regional Governor Bernard Okaliabilai and some of his close aides were out on some of the sites affected by the floods yesterday to assess the extent of the destruction. He announced that measures are underway to forestall a recurrence of the incident, especially now that the rainy season is getting into its peak. Details with Regina Galendoko from BUEA.
The population in some neighborhoods in BUEA witnessed the force of water, which submerged several homes as well as blocked the entrances to some offices, making circulation difficult on Tuesday, 24th of March. The Southwest Governor has been on the field to assess the situation, during which it was disclosed the flood had no relation with the mountain erupting as propagated by some on social media.
The natural passage of water was obstructed either by the hazardous occupation of the passage, either by the debris or the soil coming from the flooded by the water.
At the end of the tour, instructions were given for waterways to be freed, amongst others.
At the level of the regional hospital and next, we have to clear the drainage to see if that will help us. We are moving back to the GC board area where we realized that there has been a lot of problem. Either we are going to open the existing drainage which is blocked, or we are going to create a new one.
With the material loss recorded, authorities of the Southwest region are taking necessary measures to avoid a repeat of such incidents during the heart of the rainy season.
Let's go over to something else now. The death of Cameroon's legendary saxophonist Manu Dibango has continued to attract reactions from personalities from across the board. Many have taken to social media platforms like Twitter and Instagram to pay tribute to the fallen Afro-jazz icon. Worldwide recognition from some African heads of states, the chairperson of the African Union Commission, the Secretary General of La Francophonie, musicians and football stars have been pouring in. Those reactions are compiled in the following report with Cynthia Etim.
Just like his blend of jazz, funk and traditional West African rhythms left many, including high-ranking personalities nodding their heads and tapping their feet, his death too has left many aggrieved. Some heads of states, ministers, football icons and renowned musicians, through tweets and letters, have expressed their heartfelt condolence to the bereaved family. The President of the Republic of Cameroon, His Excellency Paul Biya, in a condolence letter and via tweet yesterday, expressed the condolence of the presidential couple to the family of the departed Manu Dibango. Gabonese President Alain Bongo Ondimba, in a tweet, wished the late saxophonist a peaceful rest. Other presidents like Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta of Mali, Roch Marc Christian Kabore of Burkina Faso, and Macky Sall of Senegal all expressed their consternation via tweets. The chairperson of the African Union Commission, Moussa Faki Mahamat, in a tweet shared his grief.
Africa united in grief as we learn of the passing of jazz icon Manu Dibango, who passed away after complications from COVID-19.
The Secretary General of La Francophonie, Louis Mushikiwabo, in a tweet said, Manu Dibango was a man of great value. International musicians acclaimed Manu Dibango for his qualities. To them, he was a role model and a guide. In a tweet and on Instagram, renowned musicians in the likes of Angelique Kidjo, Lokwa Kanza, Youssou N'Dour all paid their last respect to Manu Dibango.
Dear Manu Dibango, you've always been there for me from my beginnings in Paris to this rehearsal just 2 months ago. You're the original giant of African music and a beautiful human being.
Samuel Eto'o equally reacted to the loss of the African saxophone legend via a Facebook post. Yannick Noah and many more have also expressed grief. Manu Dibango has created a vacuum in the music world, but through his artistic works, he lives on.
And it's on that report that we leave it for this evening. Thanks for watching. We'll be back again tomorrow. Good night.